The Healing Spring Show, healing families and communities by breaking the stigma of addiction and expanding the scope of recovery. Now here's your host, John Edmondson.
So here on the Healing Spring Show, we have a lot of guests, and they always bring a good message, something to teach us, something to learn. And this is one that's powerful for me, and I hope it is for you, is the idea of gratitude. So we hear that all the time when we are in recovery, we're in therapy, many times at churches or in motivational speeches. Gratitude can change your life, change situations. Oh, can gratitude change others? Can help change the world? I'm sitting here with somebody who believes that is possible. And it doesn't just believe it, it's taking action as well. Savannah Solis, welcome to the show. Yeah, very glad you're here. So Savannah, something that you've done is very powerful. And as I understand it, you've written letters to police officers all over the world?
Yes.
Wow, that's powerful. How old were you when you started this?
I was 10 years old when I started.
10 years old. All right. And we're going to talk more about it, but we want to get to know the family here too. So to your right, we have Debbie Solis.
Yes.
Mom.
Mom.
All right. And Dad, Scott Solis as well. So tell us a little bit about y'all real quick. What do you do? Who are you?
Well, I'm first of all, I'm a pastor in Tyler, Texas. My wife and I, we pastor Freedom Fellowship, and we have been for 7 years in Tyler, Texas. We love to give back to the community. It's our hearts to give back to the community, and really are inspired to help people, just like you guys do here. So.
Yeah, we love to make the change together, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful. And this is something you've always done or wanted to do for a long time.
Oh, it's our hearts, like I said, and you can't develop that. It's just something that's in you. It's something that happens. My motivation is to make sure that people know who Jesus is through me, and so because of that, that's what it gives me the passion to do, is to give back, just like Jesus would.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful message. How do people find you, by the way?
You can go to Freedom Fellowship. You can go to freedomtyler.com, and that's a website that we can have for our church. And so, yeah.
Okay, Freedom Fellowship.
Facebook, Freedom Fellowship.
Okay.
Tyler, and so they can find us there as well.
That's wonderful. So look that up. If you're interested, I think it's a great message.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Mom, so what do you do?
I work at a school with Region 7 Head Start kids, but also my mom. That's my most important job, raising our 3 kids. But something that we started early on with our kids about helping and giving back, even when they were little. So it wasn't when the issue arose, it wasn't a surprise that Savannah took action on something. It was something that we started in all 3 of our kids, even to the littlest things, that she would make cards for people and leave in their seats. So when the issue started arising up and she started noticing it, and she said she had to do something, and we're like, okay. We didn't know what she meant, and she said, I'm gonna make cards. So that wasn't a shock to us. I think what became the shock was how much of her own time she gave up. It was something that was shocking to us. It wasn't a shock that when the problem, it's like raising your kids, teaching them. So when the issue does come up, they're gonna take action on that on their own, and she did. It was just something that she went with it.
She went and she did it. So this is a powerful message. So, Healing Springs Ranch, we talk about healing the families from the inside out. And you're demonstrating the importance of family. Obviously, nobody's perfect in this world.
Right.
Absolutely.
But we want to do our very best to give.
Right.
And they say a lot of times that kids, when they're younger, we're on record, aren't we? We're on record growing up. We hear, we listen, we see, and then at some point we're on play.
Right.
We're just bringing it out there. And sometimes with people, that's the challenges they go
so
through.
good.
And so now they're on place. We have to remember that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But then sometimes every moment we give is an impact as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
But of course, it's always a choice.
Right.
So this was your choice to do. Yes. Okay. So you were giving out cards even when you were younger? I say younger. When younger.
She was little.
Yeah, very little.
I would write just cards and leave them on the church pews in church, and just encouraging messages for the day. And I don't think anyone knew it was me, but I liked writing to people. That was my thing. So
That's who you are. Yes. Yeah, that's powerful. So again, when we embrace who we are, when we give our gift. So if I was going to give a gift to the world, I would have to be, okay, let me get in front of people. Let me get in front of the camera. Let me talk to y'all. If you said, John, your gift is going to be writing, I'd be like, oh, we're in trouble. But for you, that's who you are, and that's how you give back.
Well, I think too, as far as Savannah is concerned, when she talks about writing encouraging letters, sometimes it wasn't not so encouraging because she expressed herself in her writing. So if she was in trouble with her parents, she would communicate with us through a note and leave it on the table, and we would pick it up and read it. And it was her heart on that paper toward the situation. And so that's why I think, too, it's so powerful, man, this whole thing, is because every letter that's been written, everything that's been done, comes straight from her heart, at which people don't understand. As parents, we see it, and we value it that way, but others may not see that depth of Savannah, because she's not a very outspoken, loud person. But when she puts it down on paper, it's her heart. It's really just what she's feeling in the moment.
But on that note, something that is her area is writing, but her comfort zone, she is a quiet person, but her heart's huge. So I think this has made her passion has actually pressed her to go past that comfort zone. And where she's speaking in front of 20,000 people in DC and 20,000 people at Yankee Stadium and at Buckingham Palace, and to see her, that's totally out of her comfort zone, but it is her passion, I think, that's driven her. And it's gotten her out of the shell. And I think she's noticed, if I can do this, if I'm a quiet person, I think she has seen the effects when you put your heart and you're grateful and you want to show compassion for other people. I think that's what she's seeing. That doesn't matter if it's not your thing. You can still do it. You can still make a difference.
That's a great message. That's a great message. So this show it's the opposite of your gift necessarily, your original one, but then you're moving into this too. You're speaking forward. So let's speak. Let's connect. We'll work together. The one who's not such a good writer with the one who's learning how to be a public speaker. This is a perfect combination here. We're a good team. So I want to speak to your heart a little bit. I want to learn more about you, and I think the people watching do too. This is an amazing story. We started with the idea of gratitude and compassion and considering other people. You did. How old were you when you wrote your first letter to somebody?
Well, my first letter to someone just expressing my feelings was probably when I was 6. I guess that's when I started to really started getting into writing, because that was my favorite subject in school. I was good at that. I guess that's when I really started writing notes to everyone. So.
Yeah, and so the notes were in churches, schools, other places?
I would write them to my friends. Valentine's Day, that was my thing. I used to write cards to all my friends. I would leave cards for my parents, my siblings. Everything was writing for me, so yeah.
Wow. And on the letters, what did you write?
Well, whatever I was feeling, really. So if I was having a really good day, I would write about my day. I would say everything that I did in that day and explain why it was such a good day for me. And that's what I do. I like to be very open about things when I'm writing, because it's going on a piece of paper. I'm going to have that forever. So I think that's why I really like writing, because I can express myself I can express myself through talking, but it's easier for me to write it on paper.
And put it out there. And you have expressed yourself with how many letters?
I've written over 8,000 thank you cards so far.
Law enforcement.
To law enforcement.
To law enforcement. So we have 8,000 letters. Some people spend a lifetime not do 8,000 emails, much less letters of thank you to other people. What was it that made you so interested in that? I know you always wrote and you got into it and you enjoyed it, but what led to you writing these 8,000 letters?
Well, I guess it really started when I was 5 years old for the law enforcement. my mom had a heart attack, and I was home alone with my brothers and my mom, and I was only 5. I was kind of worried, and the first person to show up at our house was a law enforcement officer. And I remember I was like, well, I want to be like that. I want to help people. I want to be able to put myself out there and just be there for everyone. So I guess that started the love for law enforcement. And then when I got older, I turned 10, and I remember on a Christmas break we were watching the news, and 2 officers in New York City had been gunned down. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, how can someone do that? I don't understand this. And that's what really pushed me to show my appreciation for law enforcement. So I started writing the thank you cards, and that was my way of communicating with all the officers. And I wrote 100 thank you cards that Christmas break, and they took me to our local police department, and that's where it really started from there.
Yeah. But it started when your mom had her, so you had a heart attack, Mom?
I've had 4.
At 4.
That was the second one, and I don't remember actually who showed up. She said my kid said a police officer got there first before the ambulance, and so it was scary. I mean, I remember her bawling, and he just kind of calmed her down. And my oldest was trying to get my 3-year-old shoes on, and he was 9, and so she was just kind of stuck there. And so the officer just really, I think, and that's really where the intrigue and the interest in law enforcement came, which I don't believe that nothing happens by accident. I believe there was a purpose in that. So that's what I think started her interest.
Even those moments of suffering, in the moments of pain, can lead to something wonderful.
Right. They were there for our family, and I think she said, I'm going to give back to them. That's how it started.
Yeah, well, Mom, you're incredibly resilient. 4 heart attacks.
Yes. 4. My last one was last February. I'm good now.
You're good.
I'm good.
Yeah, and we're glad you're here with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's amazing how such a tragic and stressful event can lead to something that's very powerful.
Right.
Healing.
Exactly.
And so when the officers came that day, that was something for you. That meant something. So many times we hear stories, I mean, we see it on the news all the time, right? We hear these stories of all the things that officers have done wrong. Mm-hmm. And usually those are the isolated events. I mean, everyone's human, right? So we know that people make mistakes. Mm-hmm. But usually the vast majority in those kind of industries, like law enforcement, education, ministry, are trying to do the right thing, but they don't get noticed, they don't get seen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you remembered. Mm-hmm. And so your story is the opposite of what many people see and talk about on the news. Yours was, I went through a hard time and they're there for me. Yeah. Do you remember the officer's name?
I do not. I just remember seeing the officer come into our house and talking to me, trying to calm me down because I was going crazy. I didn't know what to do. He came in and he was very calm, and he was talking to me, everything's going to be okay. Your mom's going to be all right. And I remember just soaking that all up and remembering, wow, I want to be like that someday. And I remember before I even started the thank you cards, after that moment when I was 5 years old, I would actually take out like goodies to the police officers in church parking lots, and I'd take pictures with them.
They were not very good goodies.
But I would give them whatever I had just to show my appreciation for them. Just to even talk to them was like amazing for me. They were like my heroes. They still are. So.
Yeah. Did you make? I heard burnt goodies. Who made the burnt goodies?
That would be her right here.
Well, she grabbed it off the table. I'm like, oh, don't take that.
I would help out, so that's probably one of the reasons why they were like that. But.
She was really interactive with the kids. Let's just say that.
You're busy doing other great things. That's okay. No worries.
I am not a baker.
You're a good mom, though.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good mom, and you've cooked up something wonderful over here.
Thank you.
And great heart and kindness.
Thank you.
So I bet they didn't care either. They probably go, oh, baby, oh man, that was so cool. She came by.
Yeah.
That's probably what they remember. Yeah. So did you get to hand it to them personally? You get to see their faces?
So I would go up to their window, knock on their window, and they would roll it down, and I'd be like, I wanted to give you this, and they'll step out the car, and I would get a picture with them. So, and I got to talk to them for a little bit. They were doing work, so I had to make it short. So.
And move along. It's probably not the normal knock they're used to on their window.
They loved it.
Yeah. And so this what were the goodies? Cookies, brownies?
Cookies, cupcakes, brownies, any type of sweet food that I could get, I would take out to them.
Okay. Well, I'm sure they appreciate it. So you went from notes, cookies, and brownies to this mission all over the world. Can you talk about how it's grown since then?
Well, I'm gonna be real honest. I didn't expect it to go this far, and I'm glad it did. I've met so many amazing people, and I've gotten to meet officers and their families. And meeting their families has really like touched me, and that's one of the things that motivates me to keep pushing forward, because we don't necessarily see what's going on behind the badge, and those families are a part of that. They have to deal with everything that's going on, and I believe it would be really hard to know going to school I might not come home to my parents being there. So that's one of the reasons why I keep doing this, because I want to be there to support them, and I want them to be able to talk to me and know that there are people out there that love them. And doing this mission and getting to meet officers in London and traveling the country, it's really shown me how much law enforcement have gone through, what they've been going through, and it pushes me to keep going. So,
yeah, and that's how we met originally, was through some of our mutual friends, Badge of Honor, Samantha Horwitz, and then the Mad Radio as well. You were on there a couple of times as well with John. Yeah, so it's amazing how we can all connect like that and have this common mission. So when you said a couple of things that probably perked up in their ears. One was, I never thought it was going to go this far. So you just took the next right action and it developed on its own?
Yes, after I gave out I made 100 cards. After I gave those out, I was like, I want to keep doing this. It has an impact on their lives, and I want to be like them when I get older. And so that's what really, it just kept going from there, and I kept meeting more and more officers, to where we were driving 2 hours for just one officer, or 5 hours, and just meeting those officers and seeing their smiles just for 2 simple words, it really touched me. So
It touched you. That's what I was going to ask, is what was it like for you, the journey, the drive, the riding? How did you feel through all that? When I started this, I changed, I started to mature, and I remember I used to be extremely shy, and this really brought me out of my shell, and meeting the officers brought me joy. It just made me want to be more like them, and meeting the families, getting to know them, it really made me happy, and I don't know what I would have done if I didn't start this, because I've met so many amazing people. So. And it's led you down this journey. So later on, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Michael Moulton, M to the Rock. Michael, good to see you, brother. Hope you're watching. He talks about recovery, and one of his main focuses is 12-step recovery and support groups. And he talks so much about this idea of when you're in trouble, you don't feel good, get out of what he calls self and go help someone else. Go make a difference, go make a change, and you forget about your problems for a minute. Is that kind of what you have in your experience? For you, it was just, I want to go do it. But in that moment, did you feel this kind of a connection, or in the moment as you did it?
Well, I guess going back on when I was 5, meeting that officer, that had a huge impact on me. And just thinking of this idea as like, I'm going to get to meet more officers like him. And it showed me a different, like meeting the officers, getting to talk to them, it showed me a different perspective of their work, and getting to see what they go through every day. It really changed like my whole life, really.
A new perspective, change your life. Yeah. And instead of it being a traumatic experience at the time, I'm sure it was, it's turned into something that's a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something we can all remember.
And I don't think we're a family that appreciated law enforcement. We never really thought to say thank you. And a lot of people don't. It's not a bad thing. It's just people don't think about doing that. So when Savannah started this, it opened up our eyes as well. And you know, you say if you just, you know, put yourself in their shoes for a day, that is totally true. It really opened our eyes up. And I think that's with Savannah, even with the children that have lost their daddy or their mom, and they come up and just want a picture with Savannah and hug her, and she'll sit there and she listens. She's a good listener, and it does something. And we get in the car and she's like, oh my goodness, I want to do this again. I want to do this again. It just,
Oh, wow.
it moves her to the point where it's like, okay, I'm giving up this time, and okay, let's, instead of going on a family vacation, let's do this and just drive and go to different precincts and departments and agencies, and that's what we do. That's what we do, and we get more joy out of that than going to Disney World. You know, I mean, yes, those things are fun, but I think of seeing the joy that it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
It is. You're receiving something back. You're giving to them something they need to hear. It's good to be appreciated, and then you're getting the joy of seeing the joy, and it's just like this, you know, satisfaction that you get out of life doing that. So.
But it turned out you did do a little bit of a vacation.
Yes.
I heard you went to Buckingham Palace. Is that right?
We went. I was 10 years old when I went to London, England, and I got to meet all the Metropolitan Police officers, and it was extremely different over there, but I loved it. We got to meet some of the families of the officers over there, and I remember just sitting there, I was like, I can't believe I'm here. I'm meeting officers from London, and we got really close to some officers over there, and just getting to meet them and them telling us about their country and what they go through, because it's very different than law enforcement here. So that was a really good experience.
How is it different?
Well, in law enforcement in England, they do not carry. They're not allowed to carry. So it's actually extremely dangerous over there. People will just come up to them, and all they have is, I think it's a baton, and they have
Mace.
yeah, they have pepper spray. So that's all they have. And so they can just be walking on the streets and they don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you don't necessarily need a gun, but they don't have, they just don't know what's going on. So over here they're allowed to carry, and it's bigger, I guess. And in London, their outfits are different. They have a lot of like heavy coats, and
A hat.
they have a huge.
They wear the hats.
That's,
Bobby.
They wear the
that's
hats.
hard.
Okay.
That's hard. And I remember we got to see canines over there. That's what I want to be when I grow up, a canine officer. And they also have different dogs. I mean, that I've seen than we have over here. They have Basset Hounds.
Oh,
which are
they use
extremely
all of them.
cute. Yes, they have all different kinds of dogs in the canine unit. So I think that's what's different over there. So.
And you got to ride in a couple carriages, apparently. There was a...
Yes.
King Henry's.
Yes. The Queen allowed us to go into her garage, and we got to sit in some of the carriages, and they were telling me, this carriage is older than your country, and I was like, that's hard to believe.
Wow.
So we got to sit in those, and that was fun. I remember we also got to meet her horses, which are extremely big horses. And we got to sit in her Bentley and all the other things. That was really fun.
Okay, so you sat in the Queen's Bentley.
Yes.
Who doesn't want to sit in the
spot.
Queen's Bentley? So gratitude will lead to the Queen's Bentley. That's the message today. So start writing your letters now. Wow, how exciting.
Yeah.
What was it like for you in that moment? I'm sitting in the carriage, older than the country. I'm sitting in the Bentley.
I remember soaking it all up, and I was like, wow, I'm really here. Take it all in. And I wish I could go back. That was a really good experience.
Yeah, who knows? And there was a gift involved too, is that right?
Yes, the Queen's chauffeur gave me a little corgi. It was like a stuffed animal, and I carried that around everywhere.
Wow.
Everywhere.
Wow, so we got to get, can we get a picture of that I can post with the show later?
Give a shout out to Barry.
Yeah.
Barry.
Yeah, her chauffeur's name was Barry. So.
Barry. Oh, so we have a camera over here if you want to give a shout out directly to Barry.
Hi, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. You're awesome.
He said, that the Queen and he had a conversation about Savannah from Texas. Well, she's the one that gave permission for Savannah to be there. So he says she's very aware of Savannah from Texas. So that was pretty, I think, humbling to hear, that she knew what she was doing. And I think that the similarity between the officers there is they still have the big hearts.
Yeah.
Sacrifice, give anything. They don't get the thank you over there like we do here in the United States. Over there, he said you can pull somebody out of a burning car and they won't even tell you thank you because it's your job, you're expected to do it. So that's why every officer, they would just cry like babies because he's like, here's this kid from the States telling me thank you. Like he says, I don't get that over here. And so that's why they were
so touched by that because they don't get it, and we forget that. We have to be careful over here too. We forget about our teachers, our ministers. We forget about our first responders and officers. Just assume that's your job. Go do it.
Right.
And we forget that we're dealing with humans. And you're reminding us of that. You're making that difference over there and over here. You're connecting to them. But you're not stopping here. You want to take it to the next level. So I heard there's a foundation that's coming as well. Tell me about the foundation. It's at the beginning stages.
Yes, we're in the beginning stages. All the proceeds are going to the fallen officer families. And I actually want to start for Police Academy. I want to do scholarships because that costs money. And there are a lot of people who are eligible to be a law enforcement officer. They just have to pay out of pocket, and that's really hard for some people, and there's actually a shortage of officers because of that reason. So I wanted to do scholarships for people who are wanting to go into the police academy, and I'm also hoping to do scholarships for kids who have lost a parent in the line of duty. So
Wow. How do y'all feel sitting next to this wonderful dog? It's amazing.
We're just sitting back watching it go,
watching the show, watching it develop, right?
Letting her go with it. So
I think it's just amazing because you see from 5 years ago till now how this is all developed, and it's just a genuine thank you, a genuine person. Continuing a mission toward law enforcement. And I think that's why it is what it is because the genuineness of it. And it's, we've gotten a lot of negative feedback from people because there are people who are negative toward law enforcement, but that negative feedback has never stopped her from continuing her mission. And because of that, I think it's favored.
Favored. And so what's some of the negative feedback you hear?
Well, students
brainwashed.
may be uninformed, and so they kind of try to attack her character in a sense because she is following law enforcement. It doesn't happen all the time, but over the years we've had some forms of negativity toward it. Or, oh, look, she gets to go to London. Look, she's going on all these trips. And how amazing would that be? Oh, that's pretty cool. She's on these television shows, radio shows. And Savannah's response is so amazing because she goes, it's not about that. It's never been about that. And because it's not about that, it continues to go.
It continues to move forward.
And it continues to grow. And it's not about her. And so whenever you're giving back, that's the key. Don't make it about yourself. Make it about your mission. And when you make it about your mission, it works, man. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You unleash some, you talked about it earlier. You start unleashing something within yourself because if you're dealing with a lot of things in life, because life happens, it's never going to stop, right? We live life and life happens. There's hurts, there's pains, there's victories, there's triumphs, and it continues to go. But when you start giving back and you find your why, that is something that is transformational, man.
Transformation. I think you said it so well. This is the team of healers over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
As y'all, the dream team. And what you're saying is that it's people are forgetting that that's a result of actions. A lot of people, I've heard that before. It's easy for you because you're going to Buckingham Palace, you're going over here, getting the news. Sometimes people forget that that happened because of what you did. You're not doing it because of you got those kind of like experiences.
Right.
And it would hopefully be for the majority a motivation.
Yeah.
It's not about that.
Right.
But hopefully they go, oh, wow, this is what happens when you get grateful.
Right.
This is what happens when you obviously process a hard situation and feel the feelings that are real and true in those moments. But then once you've gone through that, now move into action.
Right.
Now move into gratitude. Now move into helping other people, which is what you're doing. Yeah.
And you don't have to go overseas to make an impact. There's hurting people right in your backyard. You know, you can make an impact. Like Savannah, it's 2 simple words, but they're so powerful. What it does, the effect of it. You can do it right in your backyard.
I think the other powerful thing is this, well, not powerful, but I think the other thing is this. People wait for the perfect situation to give back, and there's no perfect situation. If it's in your heart to do it, do it. And once you release that, you know, it's just amazing. We're not a wealthy family, but we wanna support our daughter in her mission. And so because of that, people support us and help us to get to these different places, but we're willing to make the sacrifice. We're not waiting until we have the right situation. We're just supplying the need and help for her.
Yeah,
I say this all the time. We go into these police departments, and you know the attention goes directly to Savannah because she's handing out cards and she's giving her speech, and I'm in the background watching all of this. And sometimes they'll say, "Who are you?" I say, "I'm just a driver." But just honestly, just doing that is such a great thing, man. Just to be able to support the mission and give back that way, it's helpful to me as well.
it's good for your heart too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Every mile's worth it.
Every mile is worth it. That's a great meme bumper sticker, right? And the slogan, every mile, every second is worth it. Every mile you drive to give away, to give to others is huge. So tell me a little bit about what you want to share to others. We're coming to a close in a little bit here. I wish we could do this longer because it's amazing. What are some things that you want officers, law enforcement, first responders to hear?
Well, I would say that there are people out there that love you, that respect you, and that want you to keep going, to push forward. And I want them to know that no matter how bad your day is, remember your why. Remember the reason you are doing this, because there are people out here who love you and who need you, and your community needs you, your country needs you. So I guess that's my message to every officer.
Great message. Yeah. And that they're not alone. And that someone out there cares for them.
I think she has about Officer Terrell. She met an officer, and so sweet. Was excited to meet Savannah. We spent time with them, had no idea. And we saw on the news he had committed suicide a couple of years after that. And that really struck Savannah hard. She was like, I had no idea. And there's so many officers that we are with that are dealing with this. And so I think that's an avenue she's trying to go about, you know, just to let officers know that they're valued, you know.
Yeah, and I saw the
That
look
kinda
in your
hit
eyes
home.
when I saw the look in your eyes when your mom shared that. You know, that's important. That value. And so I had to jump in right when I heard that, because this is your mission. This means something to you. This is more than just writing the letters. This is about making that change. Yeah. If there was an officer, if there was a first responder, and in this moment I'm going to ask you to look directly at the camera because I want them to hear it directly. If you wanted to tell them something, they're having a bad day, they're having a bad moment, what would you share?
To keep pushing forward. We are here to support you. You have a family that loves you. Jesus loves you, that no matter how hard the day is going, there's always going to be someone out there that supports you, no matter what's going on. Just remember all the reasons why you're doing this. Remember why you started this job, and that I'm here to encourage you and encourage you to keep pushing forward. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, before we end, let's give some shout outs. Who are the people we need to say hi to today?
Well, John Salerno. John Salerno.
And Miss Samantha.
Hi, John and Samantha. You all are amazing. It's why we met, and they're doing great work out there.
Yes, they are.
Badge of honor,
Yeah.
Mad Radio. Huge.
Who?
Who? Officer Victor Cabral.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The 41 precinct.
And the 41
in
precinct NYPD.
New York City. Yeah.
New York.
Yeah, we'll be
be
there
good.
with them this summer.
In Canada.
Wow.
God
Dude,
willing.
please, yeah.
And we're doing a long trip this summer. 2.5 weeks, right? Two and a half weeks.
All right.
Yep.
We'll be traveling through the summer.
Throughout the summer. And then I definitely want to include the Queen on that. So I'm going to give her a shout out or thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And hi to Barry.
Hi.
Same with Barry.
Also, Ollie.
Ollie.
And
Yes,
Laws.
Ollie.
Yes.
Friends of ours in
Those are friends of
in
ours.
London. We're trying to talk them into moving to Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to come visit us. They want a real barbecue, so we're going to show them what a real barbecue is. So.
Come to Texas.
Yes.
Hold on,
Yeah.
I have to correct her. She's not. I will.
Oh, yeah.
She's not the cook. She'll tell you that.
I'm going to enjoy it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank
This has
you.
been a true honor.
Thank
A true honor. It's wonderful to watch this unfold in real time. And it's obviously a family effort, a team effort to do this with humility. And as you said, this is with God on your side, God helping you do this. And that's a powerful message for a lot of people to hear. And Savannah, thank you for being so grateful. It's obvious that you have been leading this charge of gratitude, which is changing lives all over the world. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
She spoke.
So Savannah Solis, if you think her message is powerful, please like, click, and share this story. Also, how can they find you on Facebook?
We have a Facebook page. It's called Help Savannah Say Thank You. And we also have a website.
That just
TheyMatterToMe.com.
Anatomy.com.
That's her monthly blog. She has a
I write
monthly
a
blog.
blog every month, and I have a blog that I have for this month, so it should be up.
Okay, so go to both. Check them out. Look at that, the blog, the Facebook. Like, click, share when the foundation comes out. We'll be sure to announce that as well. And we'll see you next time.